Well, hello everyone, welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4 using the 1956 Road to 1956 mod, should I say. And we are currently in October 1936 and we're still trying to get a communist government on the go here. So 15% popularity for the communists, 83% for the conservatives. We've got some way to go, but we shall just be building up in the meantime. Seeing as we are the leader of the Allies, it's going to make things a bit interesting if we turn communist, because what are the US going to do? They do have focuses to go down, which will mean that they could declare war on Germany, but I think they'll just generally stay out of the war unless they go down those focus trees, but we will see. We shall see indeed. Unassigned divisions, yep, the ones in Gibraltar and across the world. Nationalist Spain is winning the civil war, as per usual. 9 times out of 10 they usually do. So let's have a look at our insufficient resources here. We've got oil that we need, get some more from the US, that will do. That will help our production of certain things, and we're actually doing pretty well on production at the moment. We seem to have a surplus of most things. Got our fighters and bombers on the go, I like tanks, artillery, support equipment, and it's just really infantry equipment that we're lacking on at the moment. So that's fine. So just expand a few things here. Let's leave it like that for a moment, but we can redistribute our factories to make things, other things produce faster than others. If that makes sense to you, then well done. You have understood my language. Right, so we got all our armies grouped together. I'm just trying to figure out what's been going on. So we got our African divisions over there. Not many people are likely to invade this little island here, but I'll keep that division there nonetheless. And we got them over here. Well, I may actually make them into an army on their own. Just a simple commander here, that'll do. There's not going to be any tanks anytime soon, but I'll just give that to Richard O'Connor here, just to assign some divisions. Gibraltar, that sort of needs to stay where it is. And we've got Malta there as well, Malta Command. They very rarely invade that island, so it's pretty safe to keep it there untouched. So let's get things on the go here and see what we can do. Ideally I want some army experience to go up because I need to change my infantry divisions. Infantry division template, that would be nice. Modify government, what can we do now? Can't do any of those yet. Limited conscription, I suppose that would be quite handy. What we can do though is get some more political power on the go. So I can get that coming up faster. So it's 1.3 per day. So hopefully we can get the government things filled as quickly as possible. And we've got a national character thing to do as well with this mod, of which I would like to increase national unity. That would be handy. So the hurricane has been researched, and so has dispersed industry. So, what do we want to do now? That's on the go. That'll be helpful a bit later on. We're not going to war just yet. Okay. Well, we will want these field hospitals and things as well, but we don't have the experience to put them on just yet anyway. Support artillery, that would be handy. But what I think... Well, the doctrines are on the go there. What I would like to do is carry on down the industry route for just now. Get our production efficiency cap up. And also our construction speed. It's a little slightly ahead of time, but it's only a month or so before we get into 1937, so that's no problem at all. We'll just upgrade these interwar fighters into Hurricanes, and all is hunky-dory. Alright, let's go. Dockyards. We've got some free dockyards because the ships are being produced. And what we want to do is to make one big massive death fleet. let's assign them to that for now. Unassigned divisions, available planes in reserve. Yep, we know this. Low manpower, that'll be fine once we get into communism, and then we can conscript a few more people. King Edward abdicates. So he went off to marry Wallis Simpson, if that's her name, if I can remember rightly. The American. And now we have George leading us. And it helps our national unity as well, which is brilliant. Fortify East Asia is done. What do we want to do next? World tension is not very high at the moment, so it's not even above 5%, so it's only 2%. Right, what do we want to do here? We could do Commonwealth ties anyway. Well, it's just an opinion thing, this democratic leanings. I thought they would it would end up what's the word I'm looking for here? Well, make them turn a bit more democratic than what they are at the moment, but no, that's fine. I think I'll do that, and then we can go down these development routes to get more factories. That's always handy to have, especially with the German powerhouse is going to be starting up pretty soon. Still got about 3 years before the traditional start of World War II. That's fine, not a lot happening at the moment. Unfortunately, that's the way of being a democracy. Until the popularity of the communists gets up to a point where I can change governments, not a lot is going to happen. So the Chinese Soviet Republic declared war on that name. Does that say Shibei? Shibei? I want to say Shibei Sanma, but you know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And if you want to tell me so, then you're more than welcome. Right, so nearly back up to 150 political power, so we can make another change to our government. There we are. Poland seeks Baltic cooperation. Let's have a look. We want to have some sort of faction going up on in the Baltic states here. So let's have a look at the focus first before we go down the government thing. Development in Canada, develop barrage, so civilian factories for all. Yeah, that'll do. Canada gets first dibs. Ideally, we want to reduce these down from dominions down to colonies or puppets. We do not want them to become free at all. So let's have a look, see what we can do here. So what do we want to do? Political advisors. There's an industrialist one here, isn't there? That's war industrialist. Military factory construction speed. Pretty handy. But I think we need to go down one of these national character routes. Exchange of ideas, drift ideology, drift defense. Actually, that's quite handy at the moment. So we don't need drift defense, so we're trying to drift towards communism. So I think that's what we're going to go for. Yeah, exchange of ideas, bonus to research time, less defense and ideology. But the AI doesn't really tend to influence your politics, so it's not really a thing that the AI does. It's more if you're playing against humans. So I think we should be pretty safe. White peace has been signed, so that basically a border skirmish happened and has finished. I'm just waiting for Spain to finish its civil war now as well. And now we've got improved machine tools. Could get some resource gain efficiency, but we don't really have much oil in the first place. We've got a lot of all the other resources, so don't need to worry about that just yet. Research time will be reduced because of faction Commonwealth research, and that will get higher anyway, so I can leave that for now. We want to increase the amount of factories we can have. That would be good. 2 days away from the grand battle plan, so I'll wait there for a moment and then get the next one done. I like going down the thingy trees. I can't remember what the name is. What is it called? The doctrines. I like going down the doctrines. Army experience. Really could do with some army experience though. I could set them to exercise. That may help for now. So that'll slowly gain some army experience for now. It does use up supplies and it will hurt production a little bit, but I think we're okay for now. It's not as if we're recruiting anyone just at the moment because we've got literally no manpower. Special Research Division has been completed. And then what do we want to do? I like to go down the focus trees there. But I think for now, we're just going to see what else we can do. And then we'll come back to that special research soon enough. We want to get our bombers off the ground as well. So what do we want to do? We want to do go down the medium bomber approach, I think. For now, that will do. Let's carry on. Construction, excellent. Development in Canada, they've got some more factories as well. That's awesome. Synthetic oil. I think that's a good idea. I think it's a good idea. It'd be nice to have our own oil produced. So the less oil we need, the better, and the less convoys will be at risk coming over the channel. Not the channel, the Atlantic. It's pretty much bigger than a channel, that, isn't it? Right, India's turn to be developed. Hindenburg disaster, that's happened. This time it has crashed and burned. Japan raises tensions with China over the Marco Polo Bridge. And the end of the Spanish Civil War. Another win for the nationalists there. Most of the time, Spain does not get involved in the Second World War, like it did historically. Or didn't historically, should I say. But in this mod, it does change sometimes. Sometimes they can be coerced onto the Axis side. But they're not a particularly strong nation, especially after they're recovering after the Civil War. But it's still a pain in the backside when it happens. Right. What's actually happening now? Nothing's actually happening at the moment. It's a bit slow. But we are on 5 speed, so things will happen eventually. Stanley Baldwin resigns. And he's 70 years old and he is decided to retire. And here comes Mr. Chamberlain. There he is. Most people will know the story behind Mr. Chamberlain and his deal with Hitler, which was not worth the paper it was written on. Oh, right, we can change the government. Right, so let's have a look, see what we can do here. What do we want to do? We want to do another one of these national characters. They're pretty good. National unity, that's alright, but I don't need that just yet. Will of the people. Communism support. Oh, actually, that would be quite handy at the moment. Well, we can always change it later on, can't we? Traditional roles for women. I think the best one out of this is limited rights. Total equality would be good if we're struggling for manpower, but like I say, I can always change that later on. The only trouble is with total equality, it brings a national unity down for some reason, which I don't quite understand. Construction speed, again, hits national unity. Right, we're going to go down the communism bit for now. So that will help us get converted. There we are. See that red chunk going up quite nicely. I mean, we want to build more ships to give our dockyard something to do. What do you want? Let's get some light cruisers. Don't know which one, but there you go, there's some. Mediterranean fleet. Really should merge those two navies. Get merged. And I would prefer you if you're up in the English Channel, to be honest, rather than down there. Let's assign you an admiral. Superior tactician. Cunningham's a good choice, I think. Oh, let's get these two merged. Japan replaces the government in China, so... Right, okay, so Japan basically takes over China with very little effort. Let's move. We want to set Portsmouth as their home base, so control right click and they will return home as well when I right click on that. So let's have a look at China. Reorganized nationalist China, which are now a puppet of the Japanese, so they've got all their manpower without losing a single man. They don't have many divisions at the moment, but won't take them long to build up, and that's quite a chunk of land, and it's right next door to India there. They can come across the border if they wish. National focuses, more development, South Africa this time. Turkish Straits question. Oh yeah, that was also a demilitarized zone, but now the Turks have full authority again, just like the Germans now do in the Rhineland. We're almost up to a 10 army experience as well, so I can make a change to the template. There we go. Let's just pause that a second while I do some things. Sometimes I can speak English. Doesn't always happen though. Right, so what I usually do is have 2 pieces of artillery with 7 infantry, and that will help a lot with our soft attack and our breakthrough as well. Lowers our defense ever so slightly by 26, but I'm sure we can survive. We'll sort out these support companies when I get more experience as well. Cavalry brigade, that's really a word, isn't it? Brigade. Do we have any more horse ones? Yes, we do. So let's select them. And we want to change them to tank brigades, I think. We do not need horse units anymore. I'll change that to motorized infantry at some point anyway. So who's still using these templates? There's one left. There's one cavalry division left, and that's in Egypt. So let's change that to tank brigade. Let's carry on. So how are we doing? 33% communist. Almost there. Gaining some manpower, but it's a slow process. Dispersed industry, a bit more of that is lovely. It's 1937, so 147 days. Let's get a field hospital done now, in preparation. Those support companies really come into their own the further you get down the line. The first couple of tiers you don't see much improvement, but it will help a country such as ourselves who will struggle with manpower later down the line until we get to things like extensive conscription and service by requirement. Because still, it's not going to live up to the amount of men that Russia can raise, or the Germans. Czechoslovakia starts border fortification project for the increased tensions with Germany. So, does that mean the Czechs are going to put up a fight? We'll see. Develop South Africa, and then finally development in Australia and then New Zealand. Let's get those done. The more factories, the better. So we can now do 2 full stacks of factories on these projects here, and then a further 3 factories for the next line. So the more of these we can cover, the more simultaneous projects we can do at once. That was a weird sentence to say, and that's probably completely wrong, but never mind. Let's have a look at the factions. Yep, that faction, however you pronounce it. So they've got the likes of Estonia, Lithuania and Latvia in a faction. So that can either be good news or bad news, depending on what happens with Germany and the Soviets. Right. I think it'd be nice to get some strategic bombers as well. Outdated equipment in production. Yep. Yes, it is. Don't want that yet. I want to replace that one with the Vickers Wellington. Let's continue. Soldiers desert to communist partisans. Lovely. That increases the change of the popularity of the communists by 15% and a bit more communism support. Although it does hurt our recruitable population for now. There we go. Let's just go back to that screen. There we are. Majority just now. It won't take long before a referendum is held, I would not think. And then what do we want to do here? Division attrition, melting pot. Will of the people. Oh, right, that gives me national unity as well. Right, I would like some construction speed as well, that would be nice. Yeah, even though it costs some national unity, 10%. 75% isn't that bad, but what we can do is take balanced approach later on, and that will make the unity tick up for a while. So that's fine. That is absolutely fine. Right, so that's where I'm going to leave it for now. Join us next time, and hopefully we'll be communist and change to the Union of Britain. But for now, I'll see you later.